Hey, I'm Tom. I'm a co-founder and COO of Expansive. Craig is Head of Facilities at Westcoast Limited, responsible for keeping sites running smoothly across a fast-paced logistics environment. After more than 15 years in global logistics, managing high-pressure operations, leading teams and delivering critical supply chain across the world, Craig transitioned into facilities without the usual qualifications or playbook. Instead, he's learning on the job, figuring things out in real time. He's hands-on, the kind of FM who's happy getting stuck into the less glamorous side of a role, blocked toilets, broken lights, the small details that no one notices. In this conversation, Craig shares what FM really looks like behind the scenes, what you learn when you're thrown into it, why the dirty side of the job matters more than people think, and how a practical, get-it-done mindset can outperform theory every time. Okay, Craig, welcome to the FM Fix. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's fun to be here, actually.
Yeah, great to have you
I've enjoyed
here.
it so far, so yeah.
Excellent, good stuff. So, you didn't come into FM the traditional way, even if there is a traditional way in FM, and I know it's probably not. But what's it like stepping into the role and figuring it out as you go along?
Daunting is one of the things I would say. I found it quite daunting by just how much buildings are living, sort of breathing things. Although they sit there, they stand still. Some look very pretty, some look horrible. They are constantly evolving in their age and their structure and what they can do, and people have different ideas about what they can do with them. So it's been daunting having to sit there and really get to grasp of the basics of how buildings are made in some ways. You know, why is that beam there? What's that structure doing? And can I take that out and put a wall there? And can I put a door here? You know, things like that. So that's the biggest thing I'd say was daunting. There's a lot to learn. There's a hell of a lot to learn, and it's not something they teach you in school either. In no walk of life, they've never sort of taught me there's a door there for a reason, or you put this above a door for a reason, you know, or you wire this in that way, and you know. So yeah, it has been a bit very, very daunting, but enjoyable. I have enjoyed it. It's broadened my mind, which is a good thing, I think, for everyone. That's a good thing for everyone, but. Yeah, it's. I can see it continue to grow. I can just see it continue.
Is it something that came naturally to you?
I think so, because I can be quite inquisitive. I do like to sort of. My boss might say it's like poking your nose in a bit, but I kind of like to do that. I kind of like to look behind cupboards and see what is there and why does that pipe go that way. So why do we do it this way? Why don't we do this? You know, I have found that. Yeah, it is like that. So,
and when you dropped into FM, were there certain skills or accreditations that you had to pick up quite quickly, or?
Not yet. I do want to go and do some accreditation, so I don't have any formal accreditation in this as what would be recognised by sort of industry experts, shall we say. I'm not a structural engineer or anything like that. I have gone off and done some electrical training and understanding of, you know, that. I've done my tests on the BS 7671. I've done that. I've gone and just to get an understanding of that aspect, but I don't want to be one of them that's got a little qualification in every single aspect of gas, electric, water, all that. I'm not interested in that, and I don't think West Coast want me to do that. I think it's important to understand a little bit. So I don't have any, but I do want to do it. Do I think it's important for people to have it? I think there's importance for them to have an understanding of it, for sure. Do they need it? I don't know. I don't know whether they do actually need it. But
that's what you need good partners for.
Yeah, I mean, this is, you know, why we work with companies to do certain bits for us, bits that I don't know and I've got no knowledge in whatsoever. We work with them companies deliberately to do that and let them be the SMEs on that. Let them be the experts. Give me the advice, tell me what we need to do. And in some cases, go and get me some companies to do that. But if we can do it, we'll do it. But yeah, qualification-wise, It's difficult, isn't it? It really is difficult.
Yeah, sure. And when you came into FM, how did you go and find that network of partners, suppliers to
So I was
work
quite
with?
lucky. I took over from someone who left West Coast after 20 odd years he'd been with the business. He decided that it was time to move on, and he left me a good foundation. And the role grew, to be honest, because initially it was just one site, and West Coast evolved. So as it was procured by the Also Group, and we did some work there, the role grew. So it grew to not just Reading. It then moved to Andover. It then moved to Spain, Germany, Ireland, all the different sites. So I was really lucky to pick up their contacts. So all the sites sort of operated almost independently. So I was really, really lucky to pick up some contacts with we work heavily with a company called CBRE, which is, globally known for what they do. So we do a hell of a lot with them. And lots of different local companies that are local to the sites. Because one of the things that West Coast have always done is try to support the local company. We want to work with the local providers. There are aspects you just can't do that, and it's not realistic to do that. But we always want to work with them. So I've been really lucky to pick up on that foundation and make them contacts. But some of it has been just going on LinkedIn and just reading. I've never really used LinkedIn until this job role, but it can be quite a tool. Everyone advertises what they do on there. So if you're looking for something, you just have a little search, and I'll send you a message and see how we can work together. Sometimes it's just an eye opener of what we need to do and how they can help us. Sometimes it leads to nothing, but I think that's a bit of social media world there a little bit. So
I can imagine it does look like a daunting world at first, doesn't it? But actually, when you get into it, it's quite a tight-knit community, where you see the same faces and the same companies crop up over and over.
Yeah, you do, yeah. And like I say, when it comes to FM and the compliance world of it, we're all trying to achieve the same goal at the end of the day. And a lot of that is around safety. I see it as it's a governance of some sort of safety in some ways, as compliance is just making sure we're all doing things correctly, safely, and largely the same way. We don't all do it the same way, but we achieve the same end goal. I think that's where a lot of it stems from, for me anyway.
I understand you're very hands-on. Why do you think that's so important as a head of facilities?
So I like to be hands-on. There's a few reasons. One, the military taught me that. I was in the military for a little while, and you never ask somebody to do something you're either not capable of doing or you're not willing to go and do yourself. So being hands-on is very, ingrained in me. You need to go and see it, touch it, feel it, understand it. We made the joke before, I'd use the analogy of the film Geostorm that we laughed about, where Gerald Butler goes up to the space station and knows after he built it and he's gone back and he knows years later, he's just walking around, things don't feel and sound right. Well, if he's never built that, he was never hands-on, he would never have known that. And I think that's key, especially in any building. I can walk into a building now and I'll hear an aircon unit making a noise. Well, it wasn't making a noise when I was there 2-3 weeks ago. Why is it making that noise now? What's caused that? I think if you don't walk and you don't get hands-on, you don't touch these systems and learn these systems, you'll never fully know whether they're working right or whether they're not. And sometimes it's just good for basic fault diagnostics as well. If something has gone wrong, it might just be a little reset the system, let it calm down, off we go again. And it's perfectly fine. It's cost you nothing. So I think it's really key to do that. I think you should almost live and breathe it a little bit with the building. Not too much, because that's not good for anybody's life. But, I don't want to be going home and thinking, why is the kettle making that noise? But, I think it's important to know and really understand the systems you've got and why.
Yeah, and I guess there's a balance to strike there as well as, you can't be hands-on all the time, especially as you mentioned, the business has grown and acquired more sites as well.
Yeah, it's a challenge. I'm really lucky. I've got some great people that work for me. Or I say work for me, work with me. They're great at what they do, and I've got some leadership and some senior leadership around me that are really supportive and will help. And we all sort of, I might be head of facilities, but the head of health and safety, we work really closely together. Same as the head of the operations. Everything that we do mainly as a three is really key to what will happen in these facilities, and especially from an operations perspective, I'm not going to go and say, right, well, I'm taking your belt out of action for a week because it needs X amount of maintenance, and not tell him, because that's his operation killed for a week. Same as the health and safety guy's not going to come in and say, well, I'm running fire drills all day for the next day, and I want to see how long it takes people to get out. It's really key we work together. So I'm really lucky to have that support network, and we all travel on different sites. We try to get together at least once a week on one site, and we try to, make sure we have a good face-to-face time. But we're essentially, at the moment, we're 3 guys. There is another two heads that run other departments, and they're brilliant. Adam and Alex are absolutely brilliant as well. They manage a different sort of aspect of what they do, but we make sure we try to get together and have that time with each other, because it's easier to have a face-to-face conversation than Teams sometimes. Sometimes things get lost in translation. So really, really pertinent for us to do that. And our boss, James, he drives that. He wants us to do that, and he wants us to lean on the people below us, because ultimately, something might happen, I'm not there tomorrow. I want them to have as much knowledge as I've got and those around me, that if for whatever reason I'm ill next week and I can't make it in for a week for whatever reason, the business and the buildings and the safety and everything will still function. It will still carry on. And I think that's key, especially for a business as big as Westcoast. We're not a person that if you take me out of the building, the business will fall over. We don't want that, and we never have done, and we don't want anyone to ever think that either. It is definitely everyone work together, know as much as each other, and we can make our lives so much easier. I can rely on them and say, I know this person will pick this up. Yeah. Leave them to it.
Spreading the risk and allowing yourself to have a holiday once in a while.
Yeah, allowing the brain to relax a bit as well. I'm very much I try to build a process that will grow and expand, and then they can take it over and leave them to it. We've done many different little things. We introduced a ticketing system for people because we can't walk the sites all day, every day. No. I don't use the toilet in building A, upstairs every day, but there are people that do. So tell us when it's broken, help us, and grow that information as to that toilet broke 6 times in the last month. There's something wrong with that. Yeah. We need to do some deeper maintenance. Yeah. But they can pick that up off that system, get the contractor to come and sort it, or 9 times out of 10 go do the dirty job themselves because it's normally blocked, and get it done. I think it's important that you have them people around you.
Well, talking of toilets, you say you really like the dirty side of FM. What does that involve day to day?
All sorts. We say toilets, I've unblocked many toilets. I've had my hands down many drains. I've climbed in the back of many waste compactors that you have to get in and clean out and get, the dirt gets in places. It has to be clean. These, we laugh about the toilet, it has to be clean. It won't work if it's not, obviously it will work to an nth degree, but it won't keep functioning how you want it to, and it won't last as long as you want it to if you don't look after it. And we laughed at, toilets, same as mechanical compactors that we have. We need to get in and clean them out every now and again. Bits get into places, and, that causes corrosion, which causes, other worlds of issues that you've got. And then before you know it, you've got repairs you've got to pay for, and stuff that could have just been avoided by looking after it. So, I do enjoy it sometimes when it's pouring down with rain and there's nobody to get in and do it. They're not the days I might enjoy it, but baking with sun, I don't mind getting out in the in the compactor and getting in there. It's a bit warm, a bit smelly, but I think it's good for the teams that we have on the floor to see that we will do that as well. I think that's really good that they'll see that actually we will do that. We're not these people. And again, it's a testament to James as what he's put into us. He doesn't want us having any sort of thing where we sit in an ivory tower that we've got people to do this. That's not. We're one team. We all work together, and we will all do them jobs. I mean, I'd love to come get James to climb in the compactor and do it, but I don't think he'd do that. But I think if it came to it, he would definitely do it. But I think if I asked him, nah, you're all right, I'll leave you to that one. I don't blame him. But I think that's really important, and that's why I love it. And you get to be with them as well. They get to see you as a human as well. So if you have to have that difficult conversation one day as to, mate, you've really made a mistake here, and this is you've not shone yourself in a great deal of light here. You can have that honest, and they know you as a person, not just a number or a name on a laptop and an email that pops up. They know you as a person. So I think that's important.
Yeah, it sends out a good message, doesn't it, to the site and to the business that you're willing to get stuck in that way. But you've got that empathy then, and you understand and you appreciate the maintenance side and what's involved. You go out and get the right partners to come and support, and you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so, hopefully. I'll try to. That's the best we can do.
How do you decide what to handle yourself versus what to subcontract and to bring in specialists for?
So a lot of that for me is based around the problem itself. So let's take it, say, a air conditioning unit. I'm going to subcontract that out. I don't want to get involved with F-gas reports, loss of all of that sort of stuff that's got to be done. And I don't think that anyone in my team has got that special skill. And I would say that is quite a specialist skill to go and work on something like that. So we would subcontract that out. So if it's any form of thing that it could compromise safety or our safety to do it, or there's some sort of legal governance around it, if we haven't got the skills in-house via one of the building teams that we work with, or they haven't got the skill set within their company to do it, subcontract that out. 9 times out of 10, we'll speak to CBRE and we'll say, this is our problem. We do own a lot of maintenance contracts with them. So Aircon is one of them. They have a company that comes in and does that. They take that headache away for me. So if the aircons are broken or there is a fault with them and something else needs to happen with them, they can deal with that. All sorts of different things will come into it. There'll be a little bit of cost because there are sometimes that I just don't want the headache. So if you look at cleaning of sites, office cleaning can be a nightmare, absolute nightmare. And there are hundreds of companies out there all offering amazing cleaning services. I've sat through some of the best sales pitches I've ever been in from cleaning companies. Absolutely brilliant. But essentially, they all do the same thing. They come in and they clean your office to the level that you want it at. I don't really want any of my teams having to go around and do them audits. I'd rather, do you know what, CBRE, go find me a company under your books that can do all of our sites, and off you go. I don't want that level of headache. I don't want the headache that the toilet papers run out. I want them to have that headache. So there's a little bit of there's governance and compliance and safety. There's also, we really don't want to be not wasting our time with that when we've got projects and stuff like that we could be better working on. So yeah, I think that's kind of where we sit with that.
Makes sense. You've launched and consolidated site operations into streamlined, high-performing hubs. What were the outcomes and how did you achieve that?
Well, it's a fancy way of saying we basically closed a few buildings and moved it all into one. It's hard work. I main did that. I was a main player in that in the last business I worked for when it was a manufacturing facility and they were closing some sites all over the place and opening a new super factory as it was. And for them, when I joined them, they were going through a turmoil time. It was hard work. I think they'd slightly underestimated the challenge that they'd taken on. And I was by no means coming in as the savior, but it was someone who I think at their point, because I like to get down and just get the job done, and sometimes I'll just do it myself and get in there and just get it done. I think that was a help to them. So yeah, it's difficult, but I think you just need to take a step back, survey what's going on. You're probably going to ruffle some feathers by some of the things you're going to say. I am a bit blunt talking, which isn't always great in the political environment we all now live in. But it's never personal. It's just we need to get the job done. The business needs to get this done. That's the focus. That's the goal. Let's just get it done. Sometimes you've got to spend a bit of money to do that, which doesn't always sit well with companies and things like that. So, yeah, I've been quite lucky to do some of that. I've done some of that with the military. It's a little bit more structural in there. You pick this up, you move it there, you put it down. It works. They've got much more systems built towards that. But when a sort of global company or a limited company decides that it wants to move site and open stuff up and consolidate down, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of thinking, there's a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of bits that sometimes just get overlooked, and it happens. Any sort of world of logistics like that could be something as simple as just changing the returns address. And I've seen that happen many times. A company moves out, even buildings we've taken over in different businesses, where we're still getting returns for the last company. It's like, you haven't changed your returns address, have you? And people are still sending us your broken stock now. So yeah, it's a challenge, but I do like them challenges. I do enjoy that. I do enjoy having them challenges thrown at me. But they're stressful. They are stressful. And I've probably had enough of them now. I don't fancy doing it again, that's for sure. I quite like the FM challenges right now. And I've been quite lucky. I haven't had to do that in this world yet. We've moved a couple of sites. We've just moved our Germany site. Like I say, myself and Simon and Andy I mentioned earlier, we've been out there. We've gone looked at some sites, and we've done the whole process semi-remotely with going out, coming back, seeing the team over there. So they've done a lot of the work this time, but I think the skill set that we've sort of helped them with and guided them with, they've done a hell of a lot themselves this time. So
You mentioned the sites in the other countries as well. How do you keep a consistency going there, and in the way that you operate? Because you talked about how tightly knit the team is, and you go and visit a site a week, etc. How do you then do that?
It's difficult with doing it abroad. We've all got families, and we're all busy, and we've all got families, and that is a challenge. But again, West Coast is so versatile. Our boss is so versatile that he'll just go when you feel like you need to go. We're not going to mandate you must go every quarter. We're not going to mandate you must go every 2 quarters or something like that. You go when you feel you need to go, or when you feel it's right. What we tend to feel between us is they do need to see us, and they need to see more of us. There's been a period over many years where they were just left to it, and they didn't have that same consistency. And I can sort of think back before I was doing FM, and I was the warehouse sort of operations manager for Thiel. James asked me to go out to Germany. They were having some challenges, and it was just system challenges that we'd faced in Thiel and overcome, but they didn't know about it, and they're using the exact same system. So it was just more of taking a knowledge out there of actually come and have a half an hour Teams call, an hour Teams call with this team. They'll sort it for you. They'll show you how this works. They'll show you why it's doing this. They'll show you how to do this in a different way that's more efficient, more cost effective for you, and you'll move more product faster. Some of it was going out and looking at it and saying, well, are these the right machines for the job? So we have to look at it in that way. Consistency it's difficult. I don't think you'll get consistency across every site, across everything, because we're all different people. We're all different ways of doing things. And I just don't think you'll ever achieve consistency in that way. We made the joke before, I'm a football referee. It's the one thing everyone says, we just want consistency. You will never get consistency across 2 humans that are doing the same job. It just won't happen. We see things in different ways. And I think logistics, FM, businesses in that way, it's exactly the same. You'll never go to 2 sites to operate the exact same way, even though they do the exact same thing. There'll be a slight tweak there somewhere, and somebody's found something or does something just slightly different. It just makes their life a bit easier. It's not the way the business wanted to do it. It's not the way the SOPs and all the people write, but it still gets the job done. So actually, are they doing anything wrong? Are they breaching any rules? No, they're not. Do you know what? It's fine. Let it go. So consistency, I'd say we're probably 80% are there across all sites. Everything that needs to be uniform and consistent is. The other 20%, they might do things a bit different, but why not? And let's take Spain for instance. It's a hot country. They might wear shorts. We might not wear shorts in the UK for whatever reason. It's maybe not quite warm enough. But why not out there? It's probably a really bad analogy, like shorts, but you get the feel of where I'm going. They might do something a bit different out there. They might go and take a break at lunchtime because it's super duper hot. Do you know what? Fair play to them. You wouldn't do that over here, and we can't achieve that sort of consistency. So, but again, they're getting the job done. So, is it an issue? To me, it's not, and I don't think anyone in the world would say it is. So,
Sure. And what does safe and operational look like in your industry?
Safe and operational. Something that somebody can go to, work at, or use, and know that they're going to be safe using that, so whether that's someone jumping on a forklift and going, yep, I can use that, it's safe. They've done their checks, it's safe. Someone putting some pallets into one of the goods lifts, they can press the button, they know it's not going to suddenly collapse. It's been well looked after, it's been maintained, and it's going to work. And I know this is a theme across businesses all over the country. They want people to feel safe at work. And that is a big thing to us. We want it to balance them doing it safely and the operational need. Don't get me wrong, I think health and safety can go too far at times. And I've worked in scenarios where people are made to wear hard hats in warehouses. And I hear that's becoming more of a thing because of things falling. And I sort of get it. But I also do sort of think, that's probably gone a bit crazy now. There's probably some very good reasons to it. I probably need to be convinced on them, to be honest. But I sort of get it. But yeah, in terms of operational and safe, if someone can come in and know that they're coming somewhere that they are safe, things are going to work, there are almost no risk. There's a risk in every environment we go in. There's a risk us coming here today.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that's what it looks like for me, where they feel safe. If someone's raising concerns every 5 minutes because things aren't safe, that's a concern to me. That's when they don't feel it.
And what's one safety issue people underestimate in warehouse and logistics?
Safety issue? I'm not sure it's an issue, but I would say near-miss reporting. I think there's a culture in the whole of the UK, and I've seen it in every warehouse I've ever worked in and every facility I've ever been in. People generally don't want to report near misses. And actually, they're the thing that we need. It's not so much the accident report. Yes, we need that when it does happen. But we might have prevented that accident report had we had the 2 near miss forms. It's happened twice before. So I think, for me, I think that's the biggest thing. People should just feel free to do that. We would never say, if we were getting 10 a week, great, that's brilliant, because we're developing a picture, because we do walk, but we don't see everything. We don't operate these machines every day. We don't walk through that part of the warehouse. We don't turn that corner where forklifts are coming down and you nearly get hit. We don't do that every single day, because the one time we might walk around it, there's nothing coming the other way. So we don't think there's an issue. But I think, yeah, that is it for me there, yeah. Make sure that people feel they can do that.
You've mentioned future-proofing sites. What does that look like in practice, not just on paper?
So future-proofing a site for me is setting it up so it can work efficiently and it can grow. I think future-proofing, it's a bit of a cliche, because I'm not sure you ever can future-proof something so it can always carry on. For me, it just looks like having the right path in place. So if we go out and buy a belt system, we've got the right support package for the next 5 years. To me, that's future-proof for the next 5 years. That's how it looks to me. I know other people have got their other views on it, they fit a heating system, they might fit something 2 times the size, because in the future they may do this, they may grow their offices, they may put more radiators. And I understand that aspect of future-proofing and that. But for me, it's more about making sure that what you've got and why you've put it in there, it can support you for the next few years, and then you continue it on from there, because you've made an investment in that piece of equipment and you want that, you've bought that for a reason, it making your environment, your operations more slicker, more faster, whichever. From my side, from a facility side, is I want to make sure I can support it, and that's what future-proofing looks like for me. So I'm not sure it's the right terminology, but making sure that item has got the right levels of support with it, the right maintenance schedules with it, so it will keep going, and that the day you turn it on, you can count on it's going to work. There's going to be days it doesn't. That's just the nature of equipment and what we do. But yeah, that's what it looks like to me. I like to say, I know others have got views that, you may build things bigger because next year we might do this, next year we might do that. And that's future-proofing to them. And that's very true. That is right. I just don't see it like that, because I don't think we ever really know what the future is. Nobody saw COVID. And I know we go back to COVID, when it was 6 years ago now. But nobody saw that coming. And that hurt a lot of companies. That hurt a lot of facilities, because there's a lot of facilities, a lot of people didn't go back to offices for years. So all these companies that have gone and spent all this money putting in bigger this, putting in bigger that, because the future was there, and then that happened. it was great, but you lost a lot of money on that, and that hurt. So we try not to. Well, I try not to look at it like that. I try to look at it into making sure the facility is well prepped for the next 5 years, rather 5 to 10 years if we can do, rather than let's build it bigger, let's build it like this, just in case we do that. If we're going to do a project, we'll look at that. So if we're going to look at a project of, I don't know, a made-up project of a new mezzanine floor, we'll look at that. What could it be doing in 5, 10 years versus what we need it for now? How do we future-proof that? Do we put a hole in the floor now ready for a belt to go in 5 years because it's cheaper to do it now and the right thing to do now rather than to cut it out later and have a structural engineer come and do it? We would do it that way, but we don't do a great deal of them sort of projects. So it's difficult to future-proof a site like that.
You must have seen in the time that you've been working there that how technology has changed a lot in logistics and warehousing. You know, you see how robots are now pick, pack and dispatching. Is that been presenting you different challenges as the technology steps up?
Yeah, it has. I love robots. I think they're amazing. My wife hates them. It drives her batty. I've got a robot lawnmower, a robot cleaner that goes around, does the floors. Love them. I just think they're so time saving. And I love them in the warehousing facilities that we've got. We've got sort of robot scrubber dryers, robot sweepers that go around in different places. The challenge I found with that is it's getting the right balance of when to send them out when the operation's at its max. Because nobody wants to be driving down an aisle and a robot turns into it. Yeah. And I can tell you now, the robot's going to win the battle of who's going to last the longest when you have a standoff. And I've watched them do it. I've watched a forklift driver drive up to it and go, it'll move. It won't. It will last longer than you will. And in the end, they turn around, they give up, they go the other way. Most robots that we've got now will turn around and go, all right, you win, and I'll go off a different way.
Bit more polite.
But yeah, it's a challenge, but I like it. I do like it. It makes my bosses a bit nervous because they are scared that a forklift will run one of these over and cost us thousands of pounds.
Right.
And I get that in that concern, their operational concern, but it hasn't happened yet. We should touch some wood now, but it hasn't happened yet, and we've had them a while.
It's one less human to worry about, though, as well, isn't it?
It's
an interesting one.
It is. It's an interesting dynamic with the cost of, what labour charges are in the UK at the moment, and how fine the margins are for everything, and how tight a tolerance is everyone working to. If you can save, a labour cost with a machine cost that costs, let's say 80% of what a human would, that 20% is a great saving to keep. And ultimately, the robots we've got them programmed. They work almost 24 hours a day. They're just non-stop. We could log in after this and go and look at one that's probably out cleaning now. They do a great job. There is definitely an offset there, though, as to whether the machine is cost-effective over a human, but I would largely say they always are. They may not feel like it in the initial outlay when you get them first figures and think, wow, yeah, but that machine's going to operate for the next 5 to 10 years quite happily on its own with very little input. And we've been very lucky. We've had almost no faults with the machines we've had. We've had 1 or 2 teething faults on sort of integration days and setup, but nothing serious. We have one guy that goes round them in the morning, cleans them out, doesn't touch them again. That's what he does every 5 days. One day, every day, goes round. Saturday, Sunday off. Monday's a bit of a dirtier day, especially with the wet, dry one.
Yeah.
But also, I look at that. Them machines are consistently going out and cleaning. So we look at facility, a concrete floor, it's getting much better looked after now than what it would have been. That compressed dirt over forklifts that are grinding into the concrete and wearing away over time, especially in VNAs, the very narrow forklifts where they're constantly in the same track up and down. They can get really dirty and they can start to wear away at the concrete. It causes machine issues, which causes us downtime. They work on a wire guide, some of them. Right. So if it breaks the wire, you then got other problems. So actually just going out, letting the machine go do its cleaning, saved you potentially a headache down the road. Dare I say that's a little bit future-proof? Maybe, maybe not. Depends how you look at it. But I love the technology side of it. I think it's coming on leaps and bounds. I half expect we'll have AI in there somewhere soon. It'll creep in. It'll get there. I'm still waiting for the day we find robot order pickers. I'm sure they're out there somewhere. They're probably somewhere in the world. But and when we find them, we'll send Simon to go and have a look at them. I'm sure he'll love that. Go and get some robot order pickers. But I don't think you'll ever fully replace the human touch. You will always need it.
Absolutely.
Somewhere in our worlds, you will always need it. But they can certainly make our life a lot easier and a lot less boring. Imagine sitting on a cleaning machine for 2 hours a day.
Precisely.
I mean, I've done it, but it's not something I want to keep doing, that's for sure. Get bored after 5 minutes. You can't have your earphones on because you're in a warehouse. So, yeah, going around listening to that beep every 10 seconds. Yeah, no thanks. I've had enough of that.
And what mindset has carried over from your logistics and military experience into facilities management?
What mindset? Probably the aspect of get it done. There is a mindset in logistics as we've always said we try to say no. And I try to do that in facilities. It's hard. Someone says they want this. We try to say no. That's the mindset we try to have because we don't want to be fun police. We don't want to be the sponge that says, no, you can't do that, it's not safe. Or no, the floor can't do this. And no, you can't take that table apart and move it there and do something. And Westcoast is phenomenal at the way it raises money and the different things it does. I mean, they did sumo wrestling in the offices the other day. I mean, I'd never thought that in my wildest ideas, even in, military days. And you just didn't hear of stuff like that. Nobody brought sumo wrestling in for the army. That's not going to happen. That's dangerous. We're not going to do that. But they did it in the office, and it was just nobody wants to say no, but you need a space to do that. So where have you got to do it? Well, we need facilities to come and take the boardroom table apart. Okay, we don't really want to keep doing that. The boardroom table can only come apart so many times. But that's the kind of thing we try to say. We try to bring that mentality in. We want you to engage with us. We want you to work with us. We never want to say no. There are times we're going to have to say no. Sorry, there are just things that's just not really ideal. We really shouldn't do that. But there are aspects we will have to do that, and we hope that's very few and far between. So yeah, we try to carry that mentality of to almost yes, and we'll get it done. And we try to carry that into whatever it is the business throws at us. So if something's broke, I don't know, I got a call 9 o'clock one Saturday night a few weeks ago. The belt's broke. We need it Sunday. We've got, a few thousand orders. We've got to get them out. Okay, well, I can't say no. So what do I do? Well, unfortunately for my wife, it was get in the car and drive down to the facility and get my hands on and start working it out, because we don't want to say, okay, yeah, we'll call someone out and just turn a blind eye to it, because we could do that. We could just turn around and say, yeah, we'll call an engineer out and we'll keep you in the loop. No, we'll go down there. We'll have a look at it. We'll see what we can do. Get that mentality. Get them known. We're invested in what they want to do. We need them as much as they need us. In fact, we probably need them more than they need us. So, yeah, we try to keep that mentality, positivity, work together. Let's come up with a solution to every problem if we can do. We can't solve everything. We may not be able to fix everything. But if I couldn't have got the belt that day, I'd like to, say there and say, right, why don't we do this instead? Why don't we come up with a solution? Let's help. Will this work? What if we do this? If I go and get that, how will that help? That sort of positive attitude. And it's hard because there are times when we're tired, we're stressed, and we're humans. We get tired, we get stressed, and we just don't want the headache. And we know the headache's coming, and we do get all frustrated with each other. But we'll love each other at the end of the day. We work together. We do anything for each other. And that's the mentality we try to bring. And that definitely comes from military walk of life, even the refereeing walk of life. We all stick together. We're all there to achieve one goal. We're all there to get one thing done. And nothing is ever personal.
I can just imagine you pulling out your yellow and red cards around the warehouse. And
oh, imagine if I could. I might have to introduce that. No, that's a yellow card. You didn't wear your high vis. The worst, the first second you walked in the door, that's a yellow. Christ, I get lynched.
You can imagine it.
It's bad enough pulling out on a football field. No one likes it there. So.
That military background, I am seeing that as a common theme coming through now. There's, it must be that tenacity, can-do attitude, as you say, the dedication, to the job. It's a very really good traits to have, and maybe it is a really good natural progression into FM.
It's a really good, in all walks of life in the military, and you've got your teeth arms and you've got your support arms and your rear echelons, as they get called, and one of the military training that you go on, and I went back on it in 2004, and it was coming out of the era of, it was really hard, really aggressive, and it was to be feared. It was coming out of that era. They didn't want that era anymore. Coming into the sort of more era it is now, where they're much more invested. It's not, shout, scream, punish all the time, and things like that. They're not so much like that anymore. But the training courses they put you on, they test you in the harshest of environments. They send you out on we used to call training courses that we would go on for command leadership courses, where you would learn, civilian aspects of command and leadership, how to talk to people, how best to say the right conversations and polite and have them difficult conversations, rather than the military way of just do as I say, how I say, when I say. But then obviously they take you out into the field and they put that into a completely different scenario, where there's all of a sudden there's somebody, in a training environment, shooting at you. And what are you going to do? You've got potentially 7, 8 guys in front of you, girls in front of you. Their lives are in your hands right now. What are you going to do? And it seems a far-fetched scenario to link that to that, but it's that quick reaction. It's that confidence in your ability to make a decision that they've taught you, because everyone has that, but it's whether that you can extract that yourself and you have that belief in yourself to make that confident decision. And that's what they're really good at getting out of you. Their training syllabus is really good, and their forte is more. Their motto is more. They're not bothered if you make a bad decision. If you decide to full front and take that enemy on when actually you probably should have gone round the right and done it that way, you made a decision. That's the key thing, because to sit there and do nothing, things will get worse. And we could look at that in an FM world in very, very easy aspect of you made a decision to fix something before it was actually fully broken. You made the decision to spend £10,000 on an air conditioning unit that only needed £1,000 repair, but it's 20 years old. So next week it might be broke again. So actually I could have saved £9,000 and gone and done 1,000, and it might have lasted another 10 years. But it might not last another 10 years. What is the right decision to make? And it's about weighing it up. And that's where I learned that. And it's the same on a football field. It's instant, make that decision. And you see it once, you only get one chance of seeing it, and you may not see it how people think you may have seen it. And that's, you've got to make that decision. I think it all links. I think that good training syllabus that they give you all links together. And I think I'm quite lucky to have all of that as well.
It's so true. The correlations are uncanny at times.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Yeah. Which takes us on to our closing tradition.
Yes.
The FM Fix reactive round.
Yeah.
So no thinking, just answer.
No
you
thinking,
ready?
just answer. Might need to retake this, but
What's one thing in every building people take for granted?
The toilets. 100%. I think everyone takes that for granted. That and toilet paper. Even in a service station, there'll be toilets. Yeah, they might not be working though, but yeah, definitely they take that for granted.
Can't argue with that. What's the first thing you check when something goes wrong on site?
Is it actually broken? Not that I don't trust them, but there have been many times I've gone to someone, they said, that's just not working. Look, I'm pressing the button. Would help if you turned it on. Go and verify the fault if you can do first. If they say it's not working, I live a little bit by trust but verify. I trust you, it's not working. I'm just going to go double check though. That's not to say I don't trust you, but let's just go and have a little look. Hopefully you can fix it there and then. Or hopefully they can go, see, told you it wasn't working. Do you know what? You're right. And I'll take that. But now I know for a fact it's not. And I probably know a little bit more about what the fault is rather than it's not working. So 9 times out of 10, you just hit it with an hammer. It works again.
And what's one FM habit that separates people who get it from those who don't?
So it's people who walk the site. People who walk the site and have that attention to detail. If you walk it and you have that attention to detail, it will just get it. It will make sense as to what you're doing and why you're doing it. That's what it is for me. If you don't do that and you think you can sit behind the desk all day, look at Excel, you won't get a true feel. You won't truly get it. And don't get me wrong, there are days when I have to sit behind the desk and I hate it. It's not for me. I'm definitely hands-on. I like to walk it, and I feel that that's how you get it more.
Craig, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for
No
joining
problem.
us on the FM Fix. Did you enjoy it?
I did. Thanks for having me. It's been enjoyable. It's a brilliant conversation. So we've gone places. It was probably slightly off topic, but yeah, I've enjoyed it. I really have enjoyed it. Yeah,
It's all good. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you
Cheers.
very much.